For several days, it was erroneously reported that Stephen Hanna and Carrie Lemieux were one and the same. And the HDSB allowed this misinformation to fester. I reached out to the board and the school via phone, email, and in-person interviews. I constantly referred to Lemieux as Hanna and vice versa. And not once did these school board bastards correct the record. And they are not above correcting people, by the way. Check out my interview last Monday with Curtis Ennis, he, him, the disastrous director of education.
We are, as a board, we are committed to human rights, and we're committed to supporting all our teachers and staff and students in an environment that upholds their dignity, their gender identity, and their gender expression, right? Issues around safety are matters that we deal with on an ongoing basis, and we continue to deal with those issues, not just with this teacher, but with all teachers. So that is something that we're committed to health and safety for all our students and staff.
But I noticed, Mr. Innes, you can't display nipples as part of the dress code of the Halton District School Board. All of his outfits, he's displaying nipples. In the shop, he's wearing long sleeves. Those massive prosthetic breasts are near cutting equipment. I would argue if this was a student doing this, it would not be tolerated. So why does this person get such leeway?
You keep saying he. First thing is, we are, being respectful of all of our gender identity and gender expression of all of our staff. And we are supportive of our staff and our students.
Yeah, so when it comes to correcting the record, Mr. Ennis, he, him, is uber concerned with pronoun issues, but he and the other HDSB minions will allow an innocent teacher at Oakville, Trafalgar to be thrown under the bus. Indeed, check out what happened at the HDS meeting last Wednesday. Why did you never correct the record that Mr. Hanna was not the person? Why did you not correct that when I asked you directly and sent you a written email? Sorry. For 5 days, the Lemieux story... No, you're out of order. The Lemieux story was in the news cycle for 5 days, and it was misreported that Mr. Hanna was the same person, and you never corrected the record. You, Mr. Innes, he, him, you, Dr. Shuttleworth, Heather Francie, a communications director who doesn't communicate, not until Monday night, 10:18 p.m. to be precise, did you correct that. Why did you throw Mr. Hanna under the bus? Why did you allow that teacher to be defamed?
I think that deserves an answer. That teacher was harassed for no reason.
Are you lazy? Are you incompetent? Or are you malicious? Were you deliberately trying to have the media get it wrong? Come on, Miss Francie, you're a communications director. Why don't you communicate? Cat got your tongue? Look at you cowards. Running away. This is the story all over the world. The freak show going on at Oakville Trafalgar High School, and yet you won't even address it. Does anyone want to talk about this? What did you have against Mr. Hanna? Why did you defame him? Why did you slander him? In writing and in emails and in personal interviews, it was mentioned over and over, Mr. Hanna was the same as Mr. Lemieux. You knew that wasn't true, and you didn't correct the record. Look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, can you believe this? The whole board has run away. By the way, as far as I could tell, there were no other members of the media in attendance that day. And given the global coverage of the Busty Lemieux saga, you'd think this would be the lead item on the school board agenda last Wednesday night, but guess what? It wasn't even on the agenda, and apparently the HDSB rules when it comes to their board meetings is to not entertain any questions that aren't about agenda items. What a bunch of censorious thugs. So where am I going with this? Well, it is high time that the parents in Ontario, and all of Canada for that matter, stand up against the educrats crafting perverse policies. And if you want some inspiration, think about what happened last year in the great state of Virginia I speak of the thousands of irate parents who crammed into school board meetings, railing against wokeism being shoved down the throats of their children, from critical race theory and radical transgenderism to outright Marxism. So what happened there is that Mama Bear woke up. And even though the position of school board trustee is the lowest elected position in a democracy, just look what happened in Virginia. A tidal wave was spawned that reached the highest elected position in the state, namely the Democratic governor, Terry McAuliffe, who was supposedly a lock to get reelected, lost to the Republican challenger, Glenn Youngkin. So here's the crux of the matter. In Ontario, the municipal elections are slated for October 24th. Par for the course, the turnout will likely be awful, and the vast majority of voters don't give a rodent's rectum about the position of school board trustee. But they should care. They must care. So I'm going to appeal to all our Ontario viewers here. Contact those who are running for school board trustee. Find out where they stand on radical transgenderism in general and the grotesque circus show that is the saga of Busty Lemieux at Oakville, Trafalgar. Let us take inspiration from those concerned parents in Virginia that were ultimately responsible for regime change. If it can happen there, it can happen here, but only if you get involved.
What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every weekday, I do a monologue. Usually it's about half an hour. Then I interview an interesting guest, and then we read my hate mail or my fan mail, whichever is more fun. It's only available behind a paywall, though. That's how we pay our bills here at Rebel News. We don't take a dime from Justin Trudeau. But the good news is it's only $8 a month, about half the price of Netflix. And in addition to my nightly show, you also get weekly shows from 4 other friends here at Rebel News. So you're getting 36 shows a month just for $8. I think it's worth it. And even if you're not quite sure, do it anyways, because we rely on viewers like you to keep us free and independent. I promise you I'll never take a dime from Trudeau. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com and click subscribe. Thanks.